Hi everybody, this is Bob from Cruising with Big Bob. It's a long time since I've put any cruise videos up. I've changed my site from Boating with Big Bob to Cruising with Big Bob because basically we've sold our narrowboat, so no more narrowboat videos. But concentrating on the cruising, we have just come back from 2 weeks on O Iona, a couple of weeks ago. We went down to the Canaries and then up to Cadiz and Lisbon. I will do a series of videos for you about that trip, but today I want to look at cruising in 2023 with O Iona. We were on the ship the same time, exactly 2 years ago today, and we went just 2 weeks ago. What are the differences between 2022 and 2023? Okay, well, there are differences. Certainly, last year Iona was a fairly new ship, and we sailed end of January 2022 with 3,000 passengers on board. And the question many people were asking, and even when they saw I was doing some videoing, asked me the question, I wonder what it's going to be like when the ship is full. I felt at that time that, yes, there'd be a difference, but I felt Iona would easily cope with a full ship. Was I right? Well, before I get into that, and before I get into some of the comments that we had, what are the things that I particularly like about Iona? Well, firstly, I love big ships, and Iona was the first of this class of ship to come out. Arvia has just come out as the second, as the largest ships built for the British market. And I love P&O's Iona. I'm sure if I went on Arvia, I'd love that just as much. Or would I? Maybe we'll find out. But certain things I like that there are a number of restaurant choices, plenty of dining options. I'm going to do a short video on the food that will come in this series. Also, I love the ports of call. And again, I will do a video on the ports of call specifically. A number of people were asking questions about how to book dining, how to book the entertainment, and how do you use P&O's portal. It's not an app, it's actually a web portal to book your dining, etc. Well, I will be doing a video on that to show you exactly how to do it. And also some tips and tricks in another video as to some of the things that we found in the cabin. I love the entertainment on Iona. They've got the Sky Dome, which is something very different. You can see acrobatics in there. You can see some singer-songwriters in there. You've got the 710 Club if you like that type of thing. A bit of jazz in there. We went one night. You have got the Headliners Theatre, you've got Brody's Bar, you've got plenty of opportunities. First time ever, we went to see a film. We went to see Top Gun Maverick in one of the cinemas. That was a great experience. I love the cabins on Iona. We always take an inside cabin, and we had a great cabin this time. I also love the promenade. Now, there has been a lot of videos and a lot of comment about these conservatory cabins that back right onto the promenade. Well, I chatted to one guy over his balcony edge, and he didn't seem to be worried about it. That's very subjective, but I love the promenade. Here's what I mean. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. I love Iona, as you can guess. But we went on the ship a couple of weeks ago. We went down the Bay of Biscay to our first port of call in Madeira, and it's the roughest seas we have ever experienced on any cruise. First time we've ever seen some plates flying off the waiters' areas and cutlery all over the place. It was a bit rocky. I took a couple of seasickness tablets. I don't know why I took those, because I didn't feel sick at all. A little bit anxious at times, but I was so glad I was on Iona. Even the captain said he was glad he was on Iona, such a big ship, and it coped with the waves very, very well. So, what are some of the complaints we heard, and how does it differ from last year? Last year, 3,000 passengers. This year, 5,000, well, we were told 5,076 passengers. It was full. And when we were crossing the Bay of Biscay with the really bad weather, all the outer decks were closed off. So you had 5,000 plus passengers inside. And I have to say, not only did the ship, but the crew coped with that, in my opinion, very well. 5,000 passengers indoors. Great job to the crew of Iona. So some of the comments that I heard when we were talking with people. Firstly, I heard this 2 or 3 times. The ship is too big. Well, no, it's not. It's not too big. It is what it is. It's 184,000 plus tons. It's a big ship. Look, if you want a smaller ship, book a smaller ship. If you want to go on a bigger ship, book Iona or Arvia. It's a big ship. It doesn't change. It doesn't change according to 3,000 passengers when it goes smaller. No, it is what it is. And for me, I love it. I love the big ship. So much to do. If you're saying, oh, there's too many passengers on and we are feeling that we're a little crowded, that's a different matter. I had a friend went on Iona just before Christmas, and I said to him, did you enjoy it? He said, enjoy it? I endured it. What? Too many people, 7,000 people on. Well, no, the capacity is 5,200, plus crew members, it would make 7,000. But we were told in this cruise a couple of weeks ago that the crew members are down to maybe 1,400, and it wasn't 5,200 passengers, but still a lot. Another complaint we've heard on Iona. Oh, the food is not very good. In the main dining room, the food is not very good. Well, have a look at my vlog on food and make up your own mind. For me, the food is absolutely fantastic. I mean, we had roast goose one night, pheasant another night, duck another night. There was always a steak on the meal if you like that. There are vegetarian options. So many different places. Come on, don't complain about the food. The food's fabulous. And by and large, the waiting staff we found this time were excellent. We did use the coral dining room most, and it was really good. All the main dining rooms, in my opinion, are very good. Another thing, there are too many people. Well, the ship is what it is. If you want to go with less people, go on a smaller ship. Try it out. Somebody else said, we missed the cocktail party. Well, there is no cocktail party. Actually, I think last year when we went on Iona, there was no cocktail party then either. Now, they are doing what they call the celebration night, and you get a card with a voucher to have a glass of bubbly on the captain. We never saw the captain, didn't see him wandering around the ship. We heard him making his announcement every day, but you can dress up for celebration night, you can have a glass of bubbly on the captain, free of charge, complimentary if you like, and that takes the place of the cocktail party. For me, do I miss having a cocktail party? No, not really. It's just one of those things of cruising today, particularly post-COVID. One thing that has been dropped that some people complained about, and It's not something that we regularly do. We have done once or twice, and that's afternoon tea. There was always afternoon tea in the main dining room. There was last year, but not now. They've dropped afternoon tea. Another thing that I felt was a little surprising, there was no church service on Iona this time. There was last year. The crew put on a church service. It's not for everybody, but for those people who did look forward to having a little church service on Sunday, it was missed, and something personally I think should be reintroduced. One person came to me and said, "Are there any proper restaurants on this ship?" I mean, he came to me because I was wearing my Cruising with Big Bob t-shirt. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, we've only seen the buffet." He didn't realise there were main dining rooms, and I had to explain it to him, and I also went through how to book them on the portal, which, as I say, will be another video that I will do. So these are some of the complaints or comments we had. But apart from that, we had some very, very good comments from many, many people. But what were the differences between 2022 and 2023? Well, firstly, nothing P&O can do about this, but last year we went round to the Iberian Peninsula up to Barcelona, and we were in Barcelona and I hardly thought we'd left Southampton. It was so smooth. The Bay of Biscay, it was very different this time, let's put it that way. Very, very rough seas. Nothing P&O could do about that, but I thought the ship coped really well. There were less crew members per passenger than there should be. We spoke to a couple of the crew, and one person did say that they were about 300 or 400 crew members down. By and large, I did have a couple of issues with a couple of crew members who, quite frankly, were quite rude to me. Never had that before, rudeness, but this time, a couple. But apart from that, everybody else was fantastic. Very friendly, very good, very efficient. So that's a difference. As I say, the afternoon tea and the church service have been dropped. That's a difference. Another difference that some people, they have a problem with, not so much for us, but your cabins are only cleaned once a day. You have a little sticker that you can put on your door, magnetic sticker you put on your door to let your cabin steward know whether you're in or out, whether you've gone wandering, and the cabin steward will go in and make up your bed, clean up, and that was very good. But there's no early evening or afternoon turn down of the bed, which there used to be. Is that a problem to you? Maybe, maybe not. You don't get bottles of water on, or automatically, we didn't, in our cabin, which we did last year. But one great feature, I feel, of Iona is there are water stations around where you can get your water bottles filled. We take the little water flasks and you can fill it up as often as you like, stick it in the fridge in your room. There's been some discussion I've seen with a number of other vloggers as to, are you allowed to take any drink on board? The answer with P&O, certainly currently, and this is February 2023, is that you're allowed to take up to 1 litre of alcohol per person, should you so wish, and you can take whatever soft drinks. So we would take 1 bottle and we would take some small cans of Diet Coke with us. You've got a fridge, you can put them in there. You do have a kettle, it's a British cruise line. You get coffee, tea and biscuits every day, and they will stock up as much as you like. So that's one good thing about being with P&O. If you like your morning cuppa, you can do that. But it's only cleaned once a day. You don't get the little cans. Mind you, last year we only got 2 cans of water. It's gone pretty much first day. One other big change, and I believe this is changing again shortly, are the COVID requirements. Now, we were a little surprised at this. We were on one cruise with another cruise line last year, and on the very last day, I caught COVID, and I was pretty ill after it. But that cruise line, that cruise ship had no idea how to deal with that situation. There were many, many, many people with COVID. So this time checked on the P&O website, checked on the portal, and their requirements when we cruised were that we be fully vaccinated. So we got the COVID passport, printed it out, took a copy with us. We were told there would be a health questionnaire, and although it was not mandatory, it was recommended that you take a COVID test yourself, a personal home test. And what people recommended is you take a photograph of it with the date. Well, I'm sorry, that is an absolute nonsense. You could take a test 2 weeks before it's negative, put it on a piece of paper, put the date 2 days before you cruise. Who knows any different? Actually, I didn't feel that was the best way to do it. But when we got to check-in, we were not asked for the COVID passport. We were not asked to prove any test. We weren't given a health questionnaire. Nor, for that matter, were we asked to prove our insurance, which on the portal they say you must have. So that's a change. I believe, speaking to our travel agent, and on that we use Igloo Cruise virtually all of the time. So thank you to Igloo Cruise. You've always done a great job for us and in booking our next one. Again, we're going on Iona again later this year. And when it comes to COVID, I think it's down to common sense. We did sit in the theatre one day with a lady next to me coughing and coughing and coughing and coughing and coughing all the time. Was it COVID? I presume not. I got home, I tested myself when I got home and was negative. But just be careful. Embarkation, I felt, was easier this time. We were on the ship within sort of half an hour of the time that we were given for embarkation. So that was good. We were able to get a lunch in the buffet. That was virtually the only time we used the buffet. Apart from that, it was very, very crowded. That is the big difference. Yes, there were more crowds, but we could always find somewhere to sit. We could, during the day, quite often the clubhouse was relatively empty, particularly when it did get better weather and people were sitting outside. There seemed to be plenty of places that you can sit and have a quiet time on Iona. One big change that we found this time, and this surprised me, was the amount of children on board. Last year, virtually none. This year, there are a lot of children. Were there changes? Yes. We did have to change the way we did things. We now go to the early show and we eat afterwards, whereas previously we would do the opposite. This is just to make things run a little more smoothly. Again, I'll speak about that in my video about the portal. So that's just a few changes. I'm sure you may have more changes yourself if you've cruised on Iona more than once. And a lot of people had. We met a lot of people who were on their second, third, one person on their fifth cruise on Iona. And we have more cruises booked this year on Iona. We love the ship and looking forward to going on it again. So if you've enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and you will get notice of the other videos that are to come. While I'm on this, before we went on the cruise, I always check out other vloggers and just to see if there's any changes, things I need to know. And I highly recommend you do that. The information I give is very subjective, that's my view. But I love listening to and watching the vlogs from Gary Benbridge, Tips for Travellers, very good. Emma Cruises, Cruise Monkeys, Ben and David, to name just a few. We love watching them and we get a lot of information. I recommend that you check them all out. So look out for the further videos in this session on our Iona cruise a couple of weeks ago. Take care.